There's missing the point, then there's this text at 412-928-9370. It's impossible to argue. He did win with Cowers, players, culture, coaches, because look at what's happened when those guys started to leave. Everything went downhill. How can you argue against that? That wonderful text brought to you by Edgar Snyder & Associates, a personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. No, we're just laughing that every person who brings up the Cowers players thing thinks they're the first guy to bring it up.
Right.
Everybody who brings up Mike Tomlin doesn't have a coaching tree. They act like they're the first guy to ever bring it up. Hey, God, 412-928-937. I'm going to call it a fan. I got a great point to make. You know, Tomlin won with Cowers players. You know, Tomlin doesn't have a coaching tree. Like, you're the first idiot that ever thought of that. For God's sakes. Jason Mackey's not an idiot. That's why he talks on the radio and writes in a newspaper. Jason Mackey, the Post-Gazette, joins us right now. Good morning to you, Jason.
Good morning. That doesn't make me not an idiot, but you have me cracking up at that line, Crowley. I've absolutely had those calls from people that thought they came
Bob
up
Nutting's
with
cheap. Okay, genius. Thanks.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yep.
Mike Sullivan's got to fix the power play, too.
Tristan Jarry stinks.
Oh, God.
They have a goalie problem.
And then if you say anything else, at least with Nutting, if you say anything else, you're defending him. Like, you can criticize him.
There's no room for nuance.
No. But, like, and I even wrote this in what I wrote about the Pirates today. Like, there's still a season starting. They still need to figure out what the heck they're going to do. They still need to figure out how to win games. Like, they can't just punt the season because people are mad. I don't know. I'm also not discounting people's opinions. It's just funny that, you know, you're absolutely right. People that come up with the Tomlin stuff act like they're the first ones to do it.
Yeah, they're all genius. No one has ever thought about that before. They're sitting there at the bar on their 15th Miller Lite, and they go, "Hey, Jimmy, did you know that Tomlin, he won with
Cowers players.
Cowers players." All right, enough on that. Mackey joins us here. And let's start with the Buccos, actually, Jason, because we've done a lot of football stuff today, as we always do. I think the argument could be made that the Pirates are closer than either of these other two franchises to actually winning something of significance. But if they are going to, it sure as you know what would help if they went and spent 5 years, $92 million on a guy like Santander, whose name I just screwed up. Like, you add a 40-homer bat to the middle of that lineup, I would take my shirt off today on camera and say the Pirates are making the playoffs. Like, I don't think they're that far away, yet they seem they've made very little moves this offseason, Jason.
Yep, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong, and I get you. I would agree that the Pirates are probably the closest to any team of finding it. Imagine if this young rotation works out. Like, being at Pirates Fest all weekend, I was just struck by, here comes Paul Skeens, here comes Jared Jones, here comes Bubba Chandler, Oviedo, Burrows. This is a really good young rotation.
Yes.
And, yeah, you can look at that in an optimistic way, and I also understand looking at it. Spend some money. Here's where I'm at with the Pirates. Like, Spencer Horwitz has put up numbers. You can look at him in a sort of sabermetric way and say this guy's been a pretty darn good player. Is it going to work out here? I don't know. I think there's a possibility of it working out. They obviously need to get another bat. If you can platoon that other bat with Jack Sawinski, there is a way of recreating offense using platoon splits in right field. And then you're looking at Reynolds, Cruz, whatever. The problem I probably have with the Pirates, or I'm a little bit worried about when we talk about the offense, is just the depth. Because if I can come up with what I'm talking about for, 9, 10, 11 guys and you're platooning them, okay, but guys are going to get injured over the course of 162 and it thins out a little bit faster than I would like.
Do you think the Pirates brass look at it like we do, that they could be the king of the city? Do you think they just focus strictly on baseball and creating revenue within their organization? Or do you think that they have a bigger outlook of this city in knowing where the Steelers are at, knowing where the Penguins are at, and that they can create the most excitement and engagement out of all the big pro teams in the city? Do you think they look at that stuff?
I don't think so, Doran. And I'm not saying that because, that sounds like they don't care. And I do think they do. And here's kind of how I'll translate it. One thing I learned about being around baseball is baseball people are just really into baseball. They don't pay attention to a lot of the context surrounding it because it's just so darn hard. So, they're trying to figure this out quickly. They want to win. I think there's urgency over there. I think a lot of people are unhappy with the lack of progress. So, that aligns with what the city needs. That aligns with the other teams not doing so well. Like the Pirates know that it's been too long, that they need to win, that this regime has had a bunch of time. Now, do they look at that and say, well, the other two teams are struggling, so like we really have to get it done now? I don't think they think about it that way. I think they have their own problems. They have their own stuff that they're trying to get through. And I just, and to be fair, like they look at their timeline and it does line up with their own internal stuff, meaning like Skeens, Jones, Keller, the way guys are on contract. So it's kind of convenient, but I don't think they constructed anything to try to find a pocket.
You need to find a dance partner. You can't just say, hey, Santander. God, I butcher his name every time.
It is hard to say, Adam. You're all right.
That guy. You can't just say, hey, come to Pittsburgh for 5 years and $92 million. He needs to also sign on the dotted line. That being said, for a team that operates the way that this team does, in the economic structure that we know baseball has, with the young pitching they have coming up, I would have considered trading Mitch Keller, who's going to make $15 million this year, $16 next year, $18 the following, and $20 the following after that, and reappropriating those funds for a bat in the middle of the lineup. Do you think those things were considered? Do you think that in particular was considered?
No, I don't. And here's the problem with that, Adam. Like, why would Anthony Santander come to a team that just had to trade its highest paid pitcher and part of the rotation? They've just traded two pieces of a starting rotation when he's got an offer from the Blue Jays. Like that doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't do that. Like what they need to do is overpay for guys. That's what they did for Russell Wilson. No, Russell Martin. They didn't overpay for Russell Wilson. No, Russell Martin before 2013, you pay a little bit more to get him in here. Now the Pirates aren't going to overpay on a 5-year, $90 million contract. Like, and one of the things that happens with baseball too, because there's so many different elements here, and I think there's a strand of this to football, but you have to sort of build it piece by piece. You have to get a structure in place where guys want to come here and play. The Kansas City Royals last offseason were a perfect example. The first thing they did, they went out and got middle relievers. And they said, like, look, we're serious. We've got this bullpen. We've got these young players in place. And free agents can see that you're going to win there. And so what the Pirates need to do is convince other free agents that they have a structure in place to win. And there's some of that, but they need to do more of it.
I was just going to ask, what have they done this offseason?
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And what they need to do is win, Adam. They need to win in 2025. If they win, all of a sudden this is going to be an attractive place to play. Until they do that, it's going to be a place where people question.
I don't think you can win unless you get the guy. So you got yourself a little bit of a vicious cycle going on here.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can win without getting the guy. You can win on the cheap. Look at the Guardians. Look at the Rays. Like, I'm not defending the Pirates' spending habits, and I get into this argument with people a lot. There's nothing that says you have to spend. You have to make smarter decisions than they've made. They've made poor decisions, and they should be criticized for them. But it's not exclusively about spending money.
Jason, is there a fire sale coming for the Penguins?
I don't think so. Not yet, anyway. I think this road trip's huge, guys, and them beating the Kings the way they did last night. Kings are a pretty good team.
Totally unexpected.
To put 5-1 on them, the way they played in Buffalo on Friday, I don't have any problem with the Caps loss in context. So they're going to wait and see. And if they come back from this road trip, Dorn, and they're 5-2 on it or something like that, I don't think it's going to be a fire sale. Pedersen's going to be gone. I fully expect that. Raquel's kind of a TBD. I don't know. I'd like to see. I go back and forth on that. I mean, if they're going nowhere, I would trade Raquel. If they have a chance, I'd like to see them maybe play a middle ground and keep them.
Yeah, you could always trade him in the offseason.
You can. And I also don't know what they can do, man. Like, you can't trade Jar. You can't trade Graves. A lot of these guys, like, I don't know what moves they can make where people would actually want the players.
Oh, my God. Things suck. Do you think they have a chance to make the playoffs? Yes, I do. To make the playoffs. Really? Yeah. Yeah, I do. You saw, like, Ned has shown various times that he can, get kind of hot and carry this team a little bit. Yoel Blomqvist is actually a very good goalie. He's just a rookie. So, the chance is that if he gets hot and carries them for a little bit, I think they have enough. If they can get some quality goaltending.
I don't think they're a team that can go deep. I don't think they're a team that can threaten anybody. But yeah, I mean, let's also remember how many darn teams get in the NHL. It's half the conference gets into the playoffs. So I mean, yeah, they can sneak into a wild card. They were before last night. I think they were 4 points out. Like, it's not unrealistic. I just don't think they're going to threaten anybody.
Jason, this was very good. It always is. We enjoy our Tuesday chats. Appreciate you for jumping on.
You guys are the best. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
We are the best.
Thanks, Jason.
You too. Jason Mackey of the Post-Gazette.